You've probably noticed it without naming it. Men used to chase, compete, and fight for attention. Now, they retreat. Slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly. They don't post angry tweets. They don't storm out of relationships. They just stop. They stop texting back immediately. Stop bending over backward to please. Stop trying to decode every mood swing. It's not bitterness. It's exhaustion. Every interaction feels like walking through a field of invisible landmines. One wrong word, one ignored boundary, one attempt at honesty, and suddenly you're the villain in someone else's story. Modern men are learning the hard way. The rules aren't written clearly, but the penalties are unavoidable. The emotional labor is relentless. You validate, you apologize, you negotiate, and still, it's never enough. Silence becomes the safest weapon. Withdrawal, the only refuge, not out of hatred, out of survival. And here's the thing, no one is talking about it. Society doesn't tell men it's okay to leave quietly. It doesn't teach them they have permission to disengage when the game is rigged, but they are. Every day, in thousands of subtle ways, men are quietly checking out. Not because they don't care, but because they've learned that caring costs more than it's worth. Before we dive deeper, if you're noticing these patterns in your own life, consider subscribing. This channel explores the hidden truths about human behavior, relationships, and the silent battles most people never see, so you can understand, adapt, and regain control. Now let's talk about the emotional minefield men face today. Every conversation feels loaded. Every boundary feels risky. Question her feelings and you're insensitive. Accept them unquestioningly and you're guilty by default. There's no winning, only surviving. I counseled a man recently whose partner accused him of not caring enough. He spent years doing everything he thought a partner should, listening, supporting, adjusting his schedule, compromising endlessly. Yet one night, she lashed out, claiming he wasn't emotionally present. He tried explaining, showing examples of his attention and care. It didn't matter, her feelings were the only truth, and in her mind, he had failed. He left that conversation drained, confused, and frustrated. Not because he didn't care, but because caring had become a liability. The patterns repeat everywhere. Social media amplifies them. A woman posts a grievance. Thousands respond with empathy. A man posts something similar. Ridicule, dismissal, or man-up advice. Society applauds female emotion and pathologizes male emotion. Anger, sadness, frustration, all dangerous if expressed by men, while women are allowed full emotional range without consequence. This is why modern men are quietly retreating. They aren't giving up on love or connection. They're giving up on a system that punishes emotional honesty and rewards manipulation. Every micro-interaction, every small disagreement reinforces the same lesson. Disengage quietly or lose everything. There are unspoken rules that govern modern relationships, myths that men are expected to navigate without a map. The first is the intuition as law myth. Her feelings are absolute truth. You question them and you're insensitive. You validate blindly and you're complicit. There's never a middle ground. I spoke with a man whose girlfriend accused him of flirting at work. No texts, no behavior, no evidence, just a feeling. He tried reasoning, explaining, denying, anything to show he was faithful. It was pointless. Her intuition became law, and he was suddenly defending himself against an emotion. How do you disprove a feeling? You can't. That's the trap. The second is the double standard of emotional expression. She can scream, throw things, or cry for hours. That's just being expressive. You do any of the same, and you're aggressive, unstable, or abusive. A client's wife threw plates at him during an argument. When he raised his voice to tell her to stop, she called the police. He was removed from his own home. His crime? Raising his voice. Hers? Emotional authenticity. Social media reinforces this relentlessly. A woman posts sadness. Comments pour in. A man posts sadness. He's weak, oversensitive, or selfish. Anger is empowerment for women, abuse for men. Tears are authentic for women, manipulative for men. Every interaction teaches the same lesson. Your emotions are dangerous unless they serve her. The consequences are devastating. Men stop speaking their minds, stop asserting boundaries, and retreat silently. Relationships become a game of survival. Emotional honesty is a liability, and over time, the quiet resignation becomes the norm. The truth is, many men are no longer fighting for relationships, not because they've stopped caring, but because the cost is too high. The emotional toll, the constant second-guessing, the pressure to navigate a minefield of feelings, it becomes exhausting. Silence becomes easier than confrontation. Retreat becomes safer than engagement. I counseled a man who had been with his partner for 7 years. Every disagreement escalated into accusations, tears, and guilt trips. He stopped sharing his dreams, his fears, even small frustrations. He existed only to keep the peace. Eventually, he realized he was living for her comfort, not for a shared life. One evening, he said nothing when she vented yet again, and for the first time in years, he felt relief. That relief was not freedom, but survival. Another example. A friend of mine started avoiding dating apps altogether. Every interaction felt like a test he could never pass. He observed friends constantly walking on eggshells, being criticized for trivial things, and realized, why put myself through this if the system is rigged? And that's the key. Men are learning the game isn't designed to reward honesty, effort, or loyalty. It punishes it. This withdrawal isn't a statement of bitterness, it's a coping mechanism. Silence becomes armor. Detachment becomes protection. The men who stay vocal, who assert boundaries, are often labeled cold, insensitive, or unloving. Meanwhile, the culture celebrates emotional manipulation as instinctual, justified, or womanly. Over time, this quiet retreat grows. Men stop seeking validation, stop investing in dating, and stop committing fully. They exist in the margins, observing rather than participating, disengaged yet resilient, quietly reclaiming autonomy one small withdrawal at a time. Men are learning lessons the hard way, but these lessons are crucial if you want to protect your peace and preserve your sense of self. First, boundaries are non-negotiable. Saying no is not cruelty, it's self-respect. Protect your time, energy, and emotional investment because no one else will guard them for you. Second, emotional neutrality is a shield, not a weakness. You don't have to react to every accusation, every outburst, or every test of loyalty. Responding impulsively only feeds the cycle. Step back, observe, and act with deliberate calm. Third, choose your battles wisely. Some conflicts are traps. Some arguments are designed to make you feel guilty for simply existing. Survival means knowing which storms to weather and which to walk away from. Consider a real-world example. A client of mine had been drained for years, trying to anticipate every mood and craving of his partner. He began setting small boundaries, declining late-night arguments, keeping parts of his life private, refusing guilt-based manipulation. The shift was subtle but profound. Peace returned. Respect returned. And ironically, the relationship either improved or ended without chaos. Either outcome was a win. And here's the subtle truth. Reclaiming yourself doesn't require bitterness, drama, or revenge. It requires awareness, patience, and courage. Your value isn't diminished by stepping back. It's amplified by refusing to lose yourself in the emotional turbulence of someone else's expectations. If this resonates, I want to hear from you. Comment down below your thoughts, your experiences, or the subtle shifts you've made to reclaim your peace. Sharing your perspective could help someone else see a way forward, and it starts with your voice.